What up, cuckolds? It's your boy, the Hater, and we're doing WrestleMania predictions. A lot of people have been requesting this video, but I didn't want to do it until we got really close to WrestleMania. Ideally, I would have done it tomorrow, but tomorrow is WrestleMania and NXT, which I'd like to watch. So as a result, I'm doing it today. The reason I want to do it tomorrow because you never know what's going to happen, right? You could turn on SmackDown and the fucking lights fall and they wipe out, I don't know, Jey Uso or something, right? And then all of a sudden that match is off the card. So that's the point, cucks. But let's get to it. We're going to do both nights. And if something changes, like if night one changes completely, right, then maybe I'll redo the night two predictions if there's something that's going on. But I'm pretty sure that, like, I know what's going to happen, so I don't think it's going to change much. First up, we've got Rhea Ripley versus Becky Lynch. Now, Rhea Ripley, for better or for worse, is over. You know, I'm pretty sure she also has wrestled like 12 matches this year, but it doesn't matter. She is the champion, and it is, quote unquote, her time. Don't be surprised if Becky Lynch pulls it through, right? People do like Becky Lynch, but right now, people like Rhea Ripley more. So I do believe that Rhea Ripley benefits more from holding the title. There's absolutely no reason for Rhea Ripley to drop the title. Nobody gains anything from this bullshit title anyways, right? Rhea Ripley doesn't become better because she's the champion. Neither does Becky Lynch. You see what I'm saying? So with all that being said, what's the point, right? What's the point of taking it away from Rhea Ripley? As a result, I think it's pretty damn safe to say that it's going to come down to Rhea Ripley basically winning the match and like clean probably and remaining champion. Like one thing about Rhea Ripley is that she has been presented as, I mean, even though she doesn't appear as much, she doesn't really cheat or anything in her matches, right? She's just like a dominant champion. So with all that being said, I do believe that Rhea Ripley is going to win. Now, what else do we have? Next up, we've got Gunther versus Sami Zayn, right? This match, I personally believe there's absolutely no reason why Sami Zayn needs to win this match. This is like a manufactured moment. You know what I mean? Like if Sami Zayn wins this match, they're going to present it as this big WrestleMania moment for Sami Zayn, but it's just not going to be. And if anyone's smart, they're going to realize this, right? The only way that Sami Zayn wins is if they have something better planned for Gunther. However, I don't think they have anything better planned for Gunther, so I think Gunther is going to win, right? Even if they did have something better planned for Gunther, I do feel like Gunther would have to cut a promo before this is established. And it's much more effective for Gunther to cut a promo as the champion than as not the champion, even though, just like the women's title that Rhea Ripley holds, the Intercontinental title is completely meaningless and nobody actually gives a damn about it, right? That's why Sami Zayn winning makes no sense because he wins a title that he's already had, that everyone wins, and that nobody cares about. Like Kofi Kingston's like a 15,000 time Intercontinental champion and never meant anything. Next up, we have the Judgment Day versus DIY versus the Awesome Truth versus the New Day, Kingston and Xavier Woods versus A-Town Down and versus the New Catch Republic. The idea of the match is that there's going to be an opportunity to win either tag team title. Do you understand what I'm saying? So it's not exactly like one team is going to remain the undisputed champion. I guess that's still a possibility, but it's not going to happen like that. I'm not exactly sure how they're going to do it if two teams go and pull the titles at the same time, or if one team pulls it and they fall off the ladder and then they continue to fight, whatever, right? It doesn't matter. But the point is, the chances are the undisputed tag team titles are going to be split up again into Raw and SmackDown, right? This is a stupid ass way of doing it, but fine, it is what it is. I don't think the Judgment Day is going to retain either title. I believe that this pay-per-view is going to mark the beginning of the end of Judgment Day, which, you know, in my opinion, like a lot of times people say like, you know, it's good to keep factions around for a long time, but Judgment Day doesn't do anything. Like all they do is just like wrestle, and then they have like a backstage segment here and there. The fact is that the wrestler that is good there, Dominic Mysterio, has already overcome his Judgment Day time, and he deserves more than that. Cuckolds. And as a matter of fact, this is also evident by another match that involves one Dominic Mysterio, but we're going to talk about that when the time comes. I don't see a scenario where Judgment Day wins personally, but it's obviously possible. I believe the Awesome Truth is going to win the Raw tag team titles, and I'm not sure who's going to win the SmackDown tag team titles. Logic dictates that it should be A-Town Down because they've done absolutely nothing with him for a year. Like Austin Theory has fallen backwards significantly in 1 year. I haven't ever seen anything like this. Like there was a point where he was like feuding with Cena and he beat Cena clean at the last WrestleMania, and now he has to go wrestle people like the New Catch Republic Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate. I mean, that's how far this cocksucker has fallen in 1 year. And you know what? Like, I thought he was a big deal because he's got like a good physique, but that's really all he's got. He's shit on the mic, right? He looks like he's missing a chromosome half the time, and Grayson Waller is the same thing as him. So there's no point in Austin Theory getting a push anymore, right? It seems like he's just a perpetual mid-carder. But I don't care about him. I do think it's going to be them, but I wouldn't be surprised if the SmackDown ones are won by New Day or Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate. Or honestly, anybody can win the SmackDown ones, right? Because I feel like if you win the SmackDown ones, you just go to SmackDown. So what's the big deal, right? Like the problem with this match is not who's going to win, who's going to lose. It's that it's a tag team match of jobber tag teams. WWE does still have some tag teams that should have been in this match over these tag teams, right? Like DIY is stupid. You know, put in the Creed brothers. Put in Gallows and Anderson, who last time I checked, were a legendary tag team that dominated New Japan. Shut your mouth. But they deserve a spot here more than like fucking, you know, A-Town Down Under, right? It's like, I mean, think about it. A-Town Down Under. It's like, just call them what they are. The two jobbers. You know what I mean? Whatever. And New Catch Republic, I always confuse them with the NXT one, which is like the Catch Crew, whatever. Like, these are all like you know, Blackpool Combat Club like ripoffs, and that's a horrible faction to rip off because they're jobbers and boring too. Next up, we have Jay and Jimmy Uso. I don't see a scenario where Jimmy Uso wins. I know some people have this fantasy that Jimmy Uso is also going to be a star, but this is Jay Uso's moment, right? This is Jay Uso's singles match, and I think he's going to win. But it could be Jimmy Uso. I don't really think it matters, right? I think the smart money is on Jey Uso, but if Jimmy Uso wins, I don't think anybody cares. It makes no difference at all, right? This is one of those matches where it doesn't matter who wins, you know, and that's why we have several of them that are like that. But it doesn't matter. Like, would anyone be upset if Jimmy Uso won? Right? No, nobody would care. They'd be like, they wouldn't even know the difference. They're like, oh, who won, Jimmy or Jay? I don't know. If it weren't for their haircuts, I would not be able to tell them apart because they both wrestle the same way. I know what you're thinking. Hater, they're twins. Yeah, they're twins, but it doesn't mean they have to wrestle the same way. Jey Uso is clearly the superior one. Every time they've done like a rebranding, Jey Uso is the one who does like new moves. Like he does the Tequila Sunrise. He does like the Whisper in the Wind sometimes. And he's clearly the more work ethically driven of the twins. So I believe he should win, right? He's more over. He sells more merch, so it makes sense. Next up, we have a throwaway match. Bianca Belair, Jade Cargill, and Naomi versus Dakota Kai, Asuka, and Kairi Sane. I don't care, right? This match is meaningless. There's nothing in here that has any kind of, validity with respect to the show or anything like that. So with that being said, I don't see a scenario where, you know, the winner is going to make any difference at all, right? So with that being said, it's like, who cares who wins? Now, logic would dictate, and I'm pretty sure this is what's going to happen. The truth is that the winners are going to be Bianca Belair, Jade, and Naomi for obvious reasons, right? Bianca Belair is a bigger star than anyone on the other team, and Jade Cargill is supposed to be the future of this company, in my opinion. Now, with that being said, we still have Naomi, who sucks ass. And I mean, I don't think Bianca Belair is anything special either, to be honest. Like, Jade Cargill's here now. We don't need Bianca Belair. We don't need Naomi. We don't need Dakota Kai. And we don't need Asuka and Kairi Sane. Jade Cargill's here. There's no need for any of these other broads. The interesting thing here is that Asuka and Kairi Sane are the tag team champions. So I don't know why this wasn't like just a tag team match for the tag team champions, right? You don't need Dakota Kai in this match, and you don't need Naomi in this match. It would have been better to have Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill against Kairi and Asuka. Now, the reason why they don't have this is because they don't want to strap the tag team title on Jade Cargill because it's, quite frankly, beneath her. So that alone makes it seem like it's almost 100% that Bianca Belair, Jade Cargill, and Naomi are going to win. I don't think there's any doubt in anybody's mind. Then we've got the LWO, Rey Mysterio and Dragon Lee versus Santos Escobar and Dirty Dominic Mysterio. Now, I don't know what direction they're going in with Dominic, but I mean, it's pretty obvious that the bigger and better things are in the horizon of Dominic Mysterio. Dominic Mysterio, if you can deny it all you want, he's more talented than Finn Balor. He's more talented than Damian Priest, and he's more talented than JD McDonough, right? Like, Dominic Mysterio is obviously the best wrestler in Judgment Day. He's better than Rhea Ripley too, right? If it weren't for him, Judgment Day would just be boring, right? They would just be like, they would be what they were before him. Like, they got rid of Edge, and somehow, against all odds, Dominic Mysterio saved this jobber faction, right? But I digress. Clearly, Dominic Mysterio is going to do some sort of Latino stable. I don't know where he's going to be plugged in. Maybe he joins LWO. Maybe he joins Santos Escobar. But I would like for him to start his own faction where he's the leader. And it can be him and Andrade. Maybe they can do like a Los Ingobernables type thing and bring Santos Escobar in them. There's a lot of Hispanic wrestlers, as well as Joaquin Wilde, who's not Hispanic, but he's being treated as such because he's part of this feud between these two massive Latino factions, right? And the logical conclusion of this is Dirty Dom becomes the leader, and he can then feud with Rey Mysterio and have his win against his father, maybe next year at Mania. I don't know, and I don't really care. But the truth is, the only thing to take away from this match is Dirty Dominic is in here, as well as Rey Mysterio. This is a match that I'm going to look forward to because it has Rey Mysterio and Dirty Dom. I could give a shit about Santos Escobar. I think he's one of the worst wrestlers of all time. This guy's just boring. He doesn't wrestle like a luchador. He wrestles like a regular wrestler, right? With boring moves. His finishing move is basically like a Samoan drop, it's the cradle shock that he does. It's a stupid move. But we'll see how this goes. And then finally, the main event of the evening, and probably the most important match of all WrestleMania, the Bloodline, The Rock and Roman versus Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins. I guess I didn't say who I think is going to win. I actually think it's going to be Dirty Dominic and Santos Escobar. I think they're going to win. A lot of people think it's Rey Mysterio and Dragon Lee, which I could see, but we've already seen Rey Mysterio beat Dirty Dominic. And I think this is the beginning of something. So Dirty Dominic needs to do something here for it to feel that way, right? So I do believe that Dirty Dominic and Santos Escobar are going to win. Again, it doesn't matter who wins or loses in this match. If Santos and Dirty Dominic lose, I still think something's going to happen. Maybe Dragon Lee goes with Dominic. I don't know. Something happens. Something's going to happen, right? Expect a lot of wrestlers to be like at ringside or to interfere in one way or another, or to come out after the match. I don't know. Maybe Dirty Dom and Ray reconcile. Who the fuck knows? Who the fuck cares? Anyways, let's move on to the main event. The Bloodline, The Rock and Roman versus Cucky and Seth Rollins. Now, it's obvious, right? It's 100% obvious that the Bloodline's going to win this match. This is this is like a waste of time. It's going to be fun to watch because The Rock is in there, right? But otherwise, it's a complete waste, right? It's going to be a long match where the outcome is obvious. Obviously, the Bloodline's going to win because they're saying they're going to have a Bloodline rules match, right? That's far more compelling than the Bloodline will be barred from ringside, right? We all know something big is going to happen on night 2. So for something big to happen on night 2, it can't be Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes. That's not big enough, right? Quite frankly, Cody Rhodes isn't big enough. And quite frankly, when you have The Rock there, neither is Roman Reigns. So there's absolutely no way that The Rock doesn't get involved in night 2 somehow. And as a result of that, the Bloodline is going to win, right? They could go the other way, of course, right? Cucky and Seth Rollins win, and The Rock still shows up, right? But, the way that it's been booked, the logical conclusion is that the Bloodline's going to win. Even if they don't, right, you can rest assured that some shenanigans are going to happen in night 2. And that's what this match is all about. Will they allow shenanigans in night 2 or not, right? Nobody really cares about who the winner is. The real match here is a stipulation, right? That's the whole point, not only like logically, but in kayfabe as well. So then let's move on to night 2. In my opinion, night 2 is the far less interesting of the 2 nights. First of all, night 2 has only 6 matches, so I don't care at all. And there's a lot of matches that are just lesser in night 2, right? First up, we have Seth Rollins versus Drew McIntyre. I don't think it matters who's going to win. The only way this horseshit is saved is if Damian Priest cashes in. But even if he does, I think it's going to be like a short-ass, a short reign, because clearly CM Punk is going to come back and he's not wrestling for bullshit. He's going to wrestle for the world title. I don't see him going after Cucky Rhodes. I see him going after this title, right? And clearly they're pushing Drew McIntyre versus versus CM Punk. So I would suggest that Drew McIntyre is the one who's going to pull this through, right? It could be Seth Rollins. I don't think it matters much. But if I had to bet, I'd put it on Drew McIntyre. Io Sky versus Bayley. Bayley's obviously going to win. Nothing more to say there. It's just like a shit feud. Nobody cares about it at all. Then we've got LA Knight versus AJ Styles. Yeah. I like both these guys, of course. AJ Styles, I think the sun is setting on his career in the sense that, he's just not interesting anymore. He still has a few good years left in him. I'm not saying he's going to be gone, right? And he might even become WWE champion again, but I doubt it, right? It just seems like his time is just up, and he's just going to be in this, Randy Orton-ish role where he's just there and he wrestles a lot. but nothing really comes out of it. And I believe they're going to once again make the error of presenting this as a moment for LA Knight. Yeah, right? I don't think it's going to be a moment, but they're going to present it as a moment. And I think this is going to be the match that LA Knight wins. One of the good things about Night 2 is the Logan Paul, Orton, and Kevin Owens match. Now, in my opinion, Kevin Owens shouldn't be on this match at all or in this event. But I don't get what I want all the time, right? And he is in this match. I believe Logan Paul is going to win. And I believe Logan Paul is going to pin Randy Orton. That's what I think is going to happen. Maybe he stacks them as well. That's what I would like to see, right? Logan Paul is doing great work as the United States champion because it keeps him at bay, right? Clearly, Logan Paul is a main eventer. Like, it's not even close at this point, right? Like, he joins. Think about the difference, right? The U.S. champion joins the Elimination Chamber and nearly wins. He's like the third guy eliminated, basically, right? Or the third guy left. And he costs Randy Orton, a legend, the title. That's how this was presented, right? Randy Orton was going to beat the hell out of, Drew McIntyre, and then he got screwed by Logan Paul. Logan Paul has wrestled Roman Reigns for the world title, and let's be real. Nobody thought this was going to happen. Logan Paul was introduced as The Miz's partner. The Miz betrayed him, and then Logan Paul has surpassed The Miz in terms of the booking. And Logan Paul is actually a talented wrestler. And I believe that at this point, Logan Paul is a very believable main eventer. Like, Logan Paul is a much more believable main eventer than Gunther or Sami Zayn, right? Or Seth Rollins. And quite frankly, the truth is that if Logan Paul wanted to, he would beat the shit out of Gunther, he would beat the shit out of Seth Rollins, and he would beat the shit certainly out of Kevin Owens, right? Like, and even Randy Orton, because he's older now. Randy Orton would give him a fight, I think, right? But, you know, like Drew McIntyre, there's a few people that I think would destroy Logan Paul, right? But this idea, Gunther is big and strong, yeah, but like Logan Paul isn't a real athlete, you know what I'm saying? So there you have it. Next up, we have Lashley, Angelo Dawkins, and Montez Ford, who, according to Wikipedia, are now known as The Pride, which is a fucking horrible name. I didn't know this was a thing. The Pride. You know what I'm saying? This is like as bad as Proud and Powerful than AEW, which, you know, like The Pride. More like, never mind. I was going to say something about Pride Month, but that's neither here nor there. The point is we have Lashley, Dawkins, and Montez Ford, who, in my opinion, don't deserve to be in WrestleMania. Like, Lashley does, and you could have put Angelo Dawkins and Montez Ford in the tag team match. That would have been a better fit than like the New Catch Republic, but that's neither here nor there. Lashley, this has been an off year for Lashley. He's done absolutely nothing this year. He's been hampered with this jobber tag team, and they're going to be wrestling the Final Testament, Karrion Kross, Akam, and Razor. I don't see a scenario where the Pride loses. I just don't. I know everyone thinks the Final Testament's going to win, but I've already cut them out. I think they're all jobbers, right? It's like you bring back AOP, who are these two monsters, right? There's a fucking six-team ladder match. You don't want to see a super collider with a ladder in the middle? You know what I'm saying? Nobody thought of that? Like, they pick up the New Catch Republic and they just super collider them on each side of a ladder and then just powerbomb the shit out of them, maybe on tables? You don't want to see that? You'd rather see DIY? Get the fuck out of here. So that's the problem. Clearly, clearly, nobody gives a shit about the Final Testament. So I don't see them winning. You know, I just don't see it happening. I think they're going to lose. Then we've got the big one. The big dog, Roman Reigns, versus Cookie Rhodes. Now, I hope that Roman Reigns wins. I think that's the correct decision. And several weeks ago, I made several videos that explain why that is. However, I do believe that Cody Rhodes is going to win. Because it would be very, very stupid or very, very smart for them to push Cody Rhodes this way and have him win. The question is, how is he going to win? In my opinion, if Cody Rhodes wins, there's only one way. And the only way that exists is also the worst way that this could be resolved. And that is, Cody Rhodes overcomes all the odds like John Cena and beats up The Rock, who interferes, beats up Solo Sikoa, maybe Jey Uso comes out, right? And Cody Rhodes wins the title, and then he has his moment finally, right? That's the only way that Cody wins, right? The alternative was The Rock screws over Roman. Now, unless something huge happens on the first night where Roman Reigns and The Rock have a miscommunication and Roman spears The Rock and then also berates him, or let's say Roman Reigns just like let's say they lose the match, right? And The Rock, costs him the match somehow. Let's just say, right? This is a far-fetched move. And then let's say Roman Reigns just beats the shit out of The Rock, right? He just turns on him and just beats the hell out of him and closes WrestleMania like that, right? Then we know that The Rock, let's say he's not part of the bloodline anymore, right? And that's what's going to happen. At night 2, The Rock can then come and layeth the smacketh down on Roman Reigns, right? Because the stipulations are all members of the bloodline will be barred from ringside. So if The Rock is kicked out of the bloodline, then that's what's going to happen, right? The alternative to this is, of course, Roman Reigns wins, right? If Roman Reigns wins, there's many ways this can happen. That's why it's the better outcome, right? Number one, Seth Rollins can turn on Cody Rhodes. And then he can basically say, and that's built in, right? He can say, you disrespected me and my title, right? You disrespected me, cuck. And as a result, go fuck yourself. I don't like that shit. And you beat me 3 times last year, and I've done nothing about it, right? And now this is my opportunity to take it away from you. You took away my WrestleMania moment, and I'm taking away yours, right? That's one way to do this, right? The other way to do this is, of course, Roman Reigns gets help from the bloodline and or beats Cody Rhodes clean. I personally think Roman Reigns beats Cody Rhodes clean is the best way to do this, right? Because it shows that Cody Rhodes is not entitled to win just because he really wants to win, right? He has to also earn it, right? And if he loses, then Cody Rhodes can do what he should have done last year after WrestleMania and go back to the drawing board, which he didn't do. All he did was just complain, cut promos in suits, have 11 matches, and wait till the Royal Rumble, right? This could be a great way to push Cody Rhodes forward. If Cody Rhodes wrestles, let's say, almost every week on Raw next year, let's just say that happens. Every week on Raw, Cody Rhodes wrestles, beating people and working his way up, right? He works his way up and he earns the world title for, let's say, next WrestleMania if they want to go that far, or more likely than not, let's say SummerSlam or something, right? He earns the opportunity to fight for the title again through correct means, right? Not cutting promos anymore, just coming out there wrestling, saying, I'm here to wrestle, I'm focused, right? Just like he was in AEW when he wouldn't challenge for the title anymore, right? Then they find a way they can give him his title run eventually, right? And then, of course, we can focus on Reigns and The Rock, right? Something must happen between Reigns and The Rock. Now, I fear that the possibility that is most likely to happen, however, is this. Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins lose. Cody Rhodes takes the pin on night 1, right? And in there's some, disgruntled nonsense between The Rock and Roman Reigns. So we get Bloodline Rules match. That's the most likely scenario, of course, right? And what happens is The Rock comes out, Bloodline Rules, right? And basically, The Rock just turns on Roman, and him and Cody hug, and it's this great go home moment, right? But that's gonna I think that's gonna be the surefire way to get Cody to be booed very, very soon, cucks. But I do think that's the most likely scenario because let's be real, they haven't thought this through very well, right? And that seems to be the most likely conclusion they've come to. I'm sure they've thought of all of the things that I just said, but I do believe that their solution is going to be what I just said. And with that being said, cucks, take care of yourselves and fuck your mothers.